Hi friends, Miss Hazel here.
And Miss Kate.
All right, so now I'm going to teach you how to sew a very fancy elephant friend. I want to show you, it's from this book that Miss Kate and I love called Crafty Creatures, and the author's name is Jane Bull. And inside this really fun book of ideas, we found this elephant. They used colored fabric, but we're using felt for ours because it's a little easier for small friends' hands. Okay, there we go. Crafty Creatures.
Soft.
And it's very softy. Could be your friend to sleep with at night. So good. Okay, so here's my elephant friend. Here are my pieces that I need. I have the elephant. This is the ears. Kind of funny, huh? Look, if I hold it like that, that's the ears. Here's the tail. And these are the blankets. Now, if sewing is a little harder for you because you're a little friend, you could make your elephant without a blanket. So you kind of can do it, be as fancy with your elephant as you like. On this side of my elephant, I made a blanket and then I stitched fancy stuff on my blanket with my different color threads. So I have my buttons. I have 2 colors of thread. I have some fun different colors. So you can use any colors you like. This is what I have for today. It's actually like elephant colored, isn't it? Okay, so here we go. I'm going to start first by taking a blanket. And if you want to put a decorative stitch on your blanket, this is when you would do it because it's easy because it's not attached to your elephant yet. So stitch up your blanket and then magically, there's my blanket. I put some fancy stitches on it. And then carefully, I used a different color thread. First, I decorated with green. If you had different colors, you could use whatever you like, but this is what I did today. And then I sewed on the blanket. So it's one piece. And then I sewed on the eye because it's easier to work with things when you're just one piece. So I sewed on my eye. I'm going to cut off my extra thread. And then I'm going to put my 2 elephant pieces together. And now I'm going to sew carefully. So I put a knot on the end of my thread. I'm going to start up kind of where the end of my blanket ends. Or if I'm not making a blanket, I'm just starting back by the elephant's rear end. Did I say that, Miss Kate?
You did.
I'm so silly.
But you would sew both eyes on normally, correct?
Oh,
First,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm kind of doing them
Moderate,
magical.
yeah.
This
That's
one has
okay.
both his eyes.
Yeah.
I'm showing you. So now I'm going to sew this one using a stitch called the running stitch, which is you just go in and out.
Mm-hmm. And there are a lot of other stitches you could use on this too, right?
Yes. Yes.
Like
There's another stitch you could use called the blanket stitch. This one's a little tricky. So you're going to go in from the bottom and then you're going to catch your loop, like thread like that. And then you're going to go into the bottom again and catch your loop. And then again through the bottom. I'm going kind of fast. If you want, maybe if you're a bigger friend and you have a more advanced, you could do your blanket stitch like that. Is that what that's called, Miss Kate?
It is called a blanket
stitch?
stitch. Yes, it gives just a nice edge to it.
Yes.
And you can also be sure that your stuffing won't fall out.
Oh, I don't want my stuffing to fall out. That would be so sad. So there you go. You're going to go all the way around. Now, you could do this all in one day. You could do a little bit. There's my blanket stitch. Isn't that really cool? You could do it all in one day, or you could take a break, kind of do it whenever you want. Okay. All right. So now I sewed all the way around, starting following the legs. This is my side that's not so decorated, and this is my side that's decorated. Now, I'm stopping right above the eye, and I'm leaving a place to put the fluff. So here's my fluff. And here's a trick that Miss Kate and I use to buy our fluff. Sometimes when you go to the craft store, the fluff is kind of pricey. And we have found if you buy like an inexpensive pillow, you just use the inside of the pillow for fluff. And then the fabric you can make things with too. So that's one of our tricks. Okay, all right, so now I'm stuffing my fluff. I'm making sure I use my fingers, and I'm gonna make sure my feet have some fluff. I think that I'm going to make sure my trunk has some fluff. I'm using my finger, pushing it in so that my elephant has a fluffy trunk. There we go, using it. Okay. And my feet. And then I'm going to keep putting my fluff in until it's just the right amount of fluffy for me. So you're going to know because you're making your own elephant for yourself when you have enough fluff. Test it. Okay, that feels good. All right, now I'm going to use, I left my thread, and now I'm going to sew up the top. This might be a little bit harder than the other regular sewing because your fluff is fluffing out, but I think you can do it. If you made it all the way around, now we're almost at the top. We're almost done. Okay, so I'm doing my running stitch, closing up the top of my elephant. Now I'm sewing where my blanket is, or if you didn't put a blanket on, sewing over there. It's a little thick. Back and forth. Okay. There we go. Oh, that looks so good. You can decorate your elephant as much as you like. Okay. Now I'm going to keep sewing my blankets stitched down to get right where the tail is. And I'm going to think that that is a good place for my tail. This is the piece that's my tail, but I have to do something to it to make it look more like a tail. So down at the bottom, going up a little ways, make maybe an inch, I'm going to make a few cuts so that it looks like my tail has some maybe hair. Yeah. Now I've made my tail. Now I'm going to fold my tail, kind of like fold it in half, and I'm going to wrap it around the fabric where the elephant's rear end is. There, I said it again.
Super thick, right?
Okay, now I've got my thread over there, and I'm going to go back and forth. I'm going to think maybe 4 or 5 stitches kind of close together because you want your tail to be floppy, but you want it to stay on. You really wouldn't want your elephant to lose his tail. And I like to finish my stitches by going back and forth maybe 2 or 3 times in the exact same stitch. Okay, that's what I just did. I'm going to cut off the extra thread, and now I have my tail. Okay, and now this is kind of the fun part. Here are the ears, folded in half. And I'm going to look where I think my ears would go, kind of overlapping the blanket a little bit. You can see from the top because I just did one piece. Kind of cool, huh? Now I'm going to use my other color thread. It doesn't really matter. You can use whatever thread you like. I like that these elephants are super comfortable. Now I'm going to go all the way through. It feels like this one almost needs to to use a running stitch. I'm sewing my ears on. And remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. You just do the best you can.
Miss Hazel, when you started the ears, did you start underneath the ears to hide the knot?
Oh, I did, but yes, I did start right underneath. Yep, that's a good point, Miss Kate. I forgot to tell my friends. Okay, and now I'm sewing it on. Oh, it's so cute. My funny little elephant friend. Okay, now I've come all the way to the end, and I'm going to go again and do, like I like to do, like 2 or 3. I'm going to do 3. 1, 2, 3 stitches in the same place, and I'm going to trim it. And I think I have a new elephant friend. He's so cute. He could be friends with this guy. Don't they walk like that in the elephants?
Yeah,
don't they?
They do walk behind.
And then these guys don't have blankets because maybe they don't want blankets. I think you could also, if you were feeling fancy and you had extra time, you could embroider your elephant's body. You could embroider your elephant's ear. In the back of our book that we love, there's some cool stitches. I know people can look up online how to do things like that, but there you have it. That is how you make an elephant friend. Thanks for joining me today with Miss Kate.
All right,
Bye
bye
now.
everybody.
If you like this video, yes, you should like us on YouTube or follow us on Instagram. We are Alameda Arts Fun. Thanks. Bye, everybody.